Oh boy, it's that time again. We're talking about some horrible films, people. Some really terrible things that I sat through this year. The worst films of 2016. And to continue last year's tradition, since we're talking about some ugly movies, I wore an ugly sweater! Look, let's just get into this, okay? Because these movies are the worst. They're so bad. These are the films that I sat through this year and I questioned why I was doing it. And I wondered what I was doing with my life. That happens a lot. Let's start out with some dishonorable mentions. Congratulations, Inferno. You sucked! Way to go, Collateral Beauty. You were ass. Great job, Assassin's Creed. You proved that even with an actor like Michael Fassbender acting in and producing your film, that video game movies are just always gonna be bad. Forever. Alright, it's come down to this. My 10 least favorite movies of 2016, starting with... Oh, The Darkness! Why was this movie made? Why was Kevin Bacon in this movie? What happened here? This was one of the worst horror films of the year. In a year filled with some pretty terrible horror films and some surprisingly good ones, The Darkness really stood out as a piece of poop. It was really bad. I hated it. Gods of Egypt, okay? This movie was hilarious. I sat in this theater and I just didn't care. I laughed out loud. I didn't care. I was just laughing. This movie was hilarious. This was the closest out of the 10 worst of the year films that I have this year that I thought was maybe like a hilariosity, where you could actually possibly watch it and enjoy it and laugh. There's a few others like that we'll get to in a minute, but this film was so self-serious. And it was so awful in just about everything it tried to do that it just collapsed within itself. And I almost kind of appreciated it. Shut In. What? I mean, what was this movie? This was one of the most boring films I saw all year. This film had no reason to exist. Naomi Watts wandered around a house for 90 minutes and there's a horribly contrived twist that ruins any enjoyment you may have had previously. It did every single horror movie cliche you could possibly imagine. There's an animal that pops out, there's horrible jump scares, dream sequences that lead to nothing. Shut In is one of the worst horror films I've ever seen. Oh, shit. Max Steel. I think I'm the only person on the planet that actually saw this movie. I saw this alone in a theater, and it was so bad about 20 minutes in that I just popped out my iPhone and started taking notes for every terrible thing that happened so I could make a really in-depth review of it. And man, I mean, I had a lot to talk about. This is easily the worst superhero film of the year, if you can call it a superhero film. A lot of people did not see this movie, and for good reason. I struggled to comprehend why this movie was made. It feels like one of those rights-retaining movies, like, oh shit, we want to keep our rights to Max Steel in case ever one day we want to make an Oscar-worthy Max Steel film, because that's going to happen. So we should make Max Steel and just get it out, and people will see it, or not. Not. The Other Side of the Door got bad reviews, but way better reviews than it should have. I hated this movie. I, again, laughed a lot during this film. Another really bad horror film. Awful plot contrivances that made the movie collapse within itself. The ending was also a horrific letdown. Another really self-serious movie that thinks it's amazing, and it's not. It was really bad. I can't believe I went to a theater and sat through this film. Why do I do that to myself? Am I just like a masochist? Look, I said this in my review, but When the Bow Breaks is Screen Gem's September movie with the same actors shuffled over and over again. They've been doing it for the past 4 years, and they all make a lot of money compared to their budget. That's all they do. They're like, hey, what's the Lifetime Channel movie we can make this year? Well, we'll switch out Morris Chestnut, or maybe this time we'll do Michael Ealy. Yeah, we'll trade them off over and over again, and we'll just make the same movie and just reshuffle the plots. It's all Fatal Attraction. It's just a bunch of Fatal Attraction ripoffs. That's all they do. This movie's horrible. I hated it. It was fucking terrible. It was a piece of shit. I had to sit there, and there were like 2 other people in front of me, and they looked bored as shit, and they actually seemed like they wanted to see the movie. They were excited for a minute, and then they were just like, my God, this sucks, and they were like falling asleep on each other's shoulders. I wanted to fall asleep, but I had to pay attention to when the bell breaks, because I have to do reviews of these movies. Why did I fucking see this movie? Why did I go... I think I just got on camera my official nervous breakdown about why I see terrible films. I should leave it all in. You know, I was actually kind of excited for Cell because I'm a fan of the movie 1408, a Stephen King adaptation starring John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. This is also a Stephen King adaptation starring those actors. But wow, this one was laughably bad. If you're not laughing your ass off by the opening airport scene, well then, I guess you just don't watch a lot of movies, because that was some horribly directed shit. And the entire film is like that. And it leads to an ending that is so horrible, and it makes no sense, and it looks like Adobe After Effects. It's so bad. Cell is awful. It's one of the worst Stephen King adaptations of all time, and there are a lot of bad ones. You know, I thought about putting Norm of the North a lot higher on this list because of how truly awful it was. There were children behind me in this theater who were restless. They were like, Mommy, I want to go home. I want to do something else. I'd rather play E.T., the Atari game, Mommy. I don't know what that is, but I'd rather do that than watch Norm of the North. And I was like, yeah, me too. Give me Superman 64 right now. I'll do it. Fuck. But I didn't put this piece of shit higher on my list because it's an animated film with a polar bear voiced by Rob Schneider, and it was originally meant to go straight to DVD and Blu-ray, and they just kind of shoved it in theaters. So when you look at it like that, you're like, okay, I can kind of understand why this is so bad. It was their mistake to put this in theaters because now I'm talking about this shitty movie. But at the same time, I can't quite say it's the worst film of the year because the other 2 films I still have to talk about had a lot more potential. This sucks.
Yeah, this movie sucks. Hey, Beavis, look at that chick, Kate Beckinsale. She's pretty hot.
If you guys saw my review of The Disappointments Room, I had a lot of people telling me that they enjoyed my Beavis and Butthead impression, so I thought I'd do it again for the worst horror film of 2016. This movie had some potential. It was directed by DJ Caruso. I enjoyed the movie Disturbia. It was an okay, disposable horror film. Kate Beckinsale was in this film. She has shown herself to be a good actress in some things, like Love and Friendship, and I enjoy her in the Underworld movies, even though they got consistently worse. This movie had potential. It could have actually been a good movie, but it's so chopped up and horrifically edited that the actual film doesn't make sense anymore. I've looked into the production of this movie, and they just basically gave up. Relativity Studios went bankrupt, and they were like, just fuck it, just release it sometime. Just put it out there. Who cares if it's finished? There's so much shit removed from this movie that the actual film as a whole just doesn't hold up as a movie. It was so painful to watch. Okay, guys. My number 1 most hated film of 2016 is 9 Lives has actually developed a bit of a cult following in lieu of movies like The Room. That type of cult following, a movie that's so bad you can watch it and just be amazed at the fact that this exists. But I'm looking at a movie directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, the guy who made Men in Black, and starring Kevin Spacey and Christopher Walken, and I'm wondering why this film about a guy who gets turned into a cat exists. How did this happen? The reason this is my number 1, beyond the fact that I hated everything about this movie, is because all of these people coming together to make this is baffling to me. The potential there for people who are funny and who have proven themselves to be funny in the past and who have proven themselves to be good directors in the past is mind-boggling that this is the result that we got. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I thought it was a Funny or Die sketch, but no, it's actually the movie. It's real. It's kind of incredible, actually. How did this movie get made? It's insane. Somebody had to have some crazy blackmail on these people. My God, this movie got made, people. Well, guys, those are my least favorite films of 2016. I do have one more thing I want to say. I want to give a big thank you to a very cool viewer out there. His name is Matthew. Matthew sent me a poster for 9 Lives. Aren't you a peach, Matthew? Why would you do that to me? I know what you were getting at there, buddy. That is a hilarious gift. Matthew is actually the son of one of the receptionists who works at my orthodontist, and I really appreciated getting that gift from you. It made me laugh quite a bit. Thank you very much for that gift. Guys, thank you for watching my videos in 2016. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. Even watching these movies and reviewing them, I get some horrible, weird enjoyment out of it. I don't know. It's like therapeutic. Guys, you are the best. I look forward to talking to you very soon in the year 2017. Have a great rest of the year. And as always, if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.